throughout the season, when in trouble in the second half, they managed to find another gear. Can they do it with time running out? There is Ingram to bat the ball away. Williams could tie it with a three. He does! Tied at 80, 38 seconds to go.
Oh, what are you doing? He threw him out of the ball game. You gotta be paping me. What in the hell are you doing? What are you doing? What you're...
No, really, stick around the game. You listen to an old veteran like me. I show you how to talk on the air, boy. Talk, the TV. No, really, TV, cameras and going on and shit like that. Huh? I'm telling you, man. I'll show you how to make a living with this stuff. I'll show you how to have the people eating right out of here.
My enemies are white people, not Vietnams or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
Everybody.
Hello.
Down the hatch.
Hello.
Oops, I thought I had a fade out on that. We just came straight out. The music.
Get out, baby.
Anyways.
The point is it's actually happening, so that's I'll take it.
We are on. I have
We're
confirmation.
here, we're live. Right.
I'm married. Nathan officiated.
Mm.
You think Nathan can host a fucking podcast? The motherfucker can officiate a goddamn wedding, that's for sure.
Right. He
So many
controlled the
compliments.
room.
He did.
Controlled the room.
Just played just an incredible set.
Yeah.
I got
It was great.
got the ring. You guys have already seen it. You guys can't see it, but got the ring. I also am drinking some 400 Conejos, which is rabbits. I got a bunch of mezcal when I came back and Cubans.
Ooh.
So,
Hello.
Very good. Very nice.
a great drink here. This is the Southpaws special mixology episode. You make a drink with
Right, baby.
you take mezcal, about 2 shots of that, a little bit of orange juice, and a little bit of club soda. You got a refreshing fucking drink right there. I'm drinking it right now.
That's what I'm
drinking it right now.
Now, is there a specific type of club soda? Do we prefer?
We're not gonna use the kind. I'm not gonna say the kind of club soda I use because I will be canceled. Because I
true.
definitely don't own a Soda Stream. Because I do BDS.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna say the exact form of soda, but if you go to SodaStream and type in Southpaws, you get 50% off your first month of. I don't know how it fucking works.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I'm happy to be back and podcasting. A lot of stuff happened. I had to unplug for like an entire week. I stayed kind of connected, but for me, it was logging off.
Yeah.
And I missed quite a bit of stuff. I missed the Canes season opener. I caught the highlights, but Canes are 3-0, baby. Feels good.
Must be nice to have a winner.
That's what they do, right? They have a little.
Yeah, they do the
hurricane.
siren. Rasheed Wallace actually did it in the playoffs.
Damn.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
Puck don't lie.
I yelled that like 1,000 times because I was just totally wasted on cheer wine and vodka.
There we go.
I just kept yelling "Puck don't lie" over and over. And anyways, yeah. What did I miss? What happened? Inform me of everything that happened in sports this week.
The MLB playoffs have been dope. You've missed a lot of action there.
I have not been missing the action. I've been losing on my action because I haven't been watching the games.
I apologize.
Yes. You don't need to apologize for my degeneracy.
Are you doing over under? Are you doing spread?
I played it all today. I knew today that Greinke was gonna blow it in the playoffs like he always does, and I still bet on the Astros money line, and they got fucking throttled. And so then trying to chase more bad money, I took the Cardinals -1.5, and of course they won on a walk-off. a walk-off sacrifice fly. So Molina just could not get it over the fence for me. So yeah, that's how that's going for me.
Gambler's delight.
Well, you did. Now, did you see everybody trashing Acuna Jr. for not hustling on that single?
I didn't.
A few days ago. Oh, you did.
I mean, he makes too much money. That contract that he signed is just far too much money for a player of his caliber.
If he spent a little less time bat flipping and more time running down the bases, I think.
That's right.
Do it the Cardinals way. Is he a Cardinal? Do it the Cardinals way.
No, he's on the Braves.
Well, maybe if he did it the Cardinals way, he would have won.
That's true.
Thought about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Spent too much time doing the no-no signal and more time doing the yes Cardinals way, running around the bases.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The Cardinals have a way. They have a way. Winning a game. It was game 4, right? Yeah, because they're tied at 2.
Yes.
Winning a game 4 with a walk-off sacrifice fly is pretty peak Cardinal.
Yeah.
I would say peak Cardinals way. So, yeah. No, I've enjoyed them. Clifton, what has been your favorite series so far?
Wait, I got a good one. Cardlito's way. It's like Carlito's way.
Yeah,
I got that part.
I definitely got it. I guess it was the Y.
It works on one level where it literally sounds like Carlito's way, and that's.
I'm gonna go ahead and just turn my camera off. Okay.
There he goes.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. What's been your favorite series so far?
Definitely the Braves Cardinals. It's kind of sucks because I have a lot of cognitive dissonance when it comes to Atlanta. For one, Atlanta is a really black ass city, and so I kind of root for anything coming out of there.
Yeah.
And also, like, the team has a lot of cool young dudes on it that I really support. But as we'll talk about later on, the fans can kind of suck at times, and sometimes the Braves way is a little problematic. So it's been I just had a rough time going back and forth cheering for them. But I think that series has definitely been the most exciting and the most intriguing.
Yeah.
It's been tight the whole way.
I've enjoyed friend of the show. I don't know if he's still going by Ornata. I know he changed his handle at one point. Clark Street Kremlinologist. How the fuck do you say that? Kremlinologist. Anyways,
you're guessing
who's ours. You gotta get blasted for that, Adam. You gotta get blasted for that.
He has been as pretty. I think he's pretty well known as being the grumpy. Actually, everybody is racist. Tweet account, which he's not wrong, but he has been taking quite a lot of joy in people trying to call the Cardinals the racist organization when they are literally playing the most racist organization, like on like an actual organizational level in baseball. So
wouldn't the Indians, or the Indians got
yeah. I mean, they don't do the tomahawk chop, but they have the more racist logo. So I guess it's.
Yeah.
Aren't they actually trying to fade it out though?
Well, MLB is trying to tell them they can't have the All-Star game. Is basically the extent of it.
But also remember, though, too, one of those teams requires the fans to actively participate in the racism.
That's
whereas
true.
the other is just like they can be a little more subtly racist. And subtle racism is what we like. That's what we dig.
Well,
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
makes you happy, as the POC
Right.
of the show, that means
That's
we
right.
can all
POC.
be subtly racist, but not
Right.
do the tomahawk chop.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know how many times at your wedding I heard that you have a black groomsman? That's all I heard the
Are
entire
you
time.
serious? Jesus
That's all I heard.
Christ. God damn it.
I gotta say, I'm really sorry for saying that to you, and that's I should have done my background research about who was going to be there. I didn't know.
Right. That's right.
Did you one last story before we get in about the wedding. Now that I'm a wife guy, I have to launch into a few. There was our other friend who's been on the show twice, right, Josh? Josh's been on twice, yeah.
Yes.
Josh was there, and he Josh had a few drinky poos. He had a good time. And he decided, he had to take a nap in a chair at one point, and he while taking a nap, one of the wait staff came up to my little sister's girlfriend, who is black, and was like, "Your friend looks like he's having some trouble," and she's like, "I don't fucking know that guy." Like, why did you assume that?
Here's the thing. So I did hear this story told, and I gotta defend this guy for a little bit, okay? So this is the catering staff person that came up there. He was one of the black guys, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I don't remember much of my wedding.
It's cool. I think he was. And so what I have to say is, in defense of this young man, because I just have this propensity to, when I get drunk, I just like to talk to black people a lot.
I know. I know.
Yeah. So at the wedding, I was just making friends with a lot of the black folks who were working there, because there were more black workers than black attendees. But whatever.
Hey, so it wasn't my fault.
Good wedding, though. Good wedding. Good wedding.
So I made friends with this young man, and I connected with him, and I specifically expressed that I'm connecting with you because you're black. And so I feel like I may have emboldened this young man to then go up to other black folks and say, "Hey, we are connected, and one of our brothers is dying over here. Help him." Okay? So I think that's where he was going with it.
So it was like a Pan-African type thing.
Yeah.
It was like,
basically.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's
woke,
and that's cool.
Yeah.
I did get Amy to admit that I did, because I think we all had quite a few drinky poos in our own way, and it was a wild wedding. And in my drunken state, it was the only wedding that I've seen that everybody was dancing, or just about everybody was dancing. Usually, for the viewing audience, white weddings can sometimes be kind of a stodgy affair. And so I went up, and I went up to Amy, just drunk as shit, and I was like, "Amy, is this the best white wedding you've ever been to?" And she said yes. So you have the honor.
It's high praise.
Best non-melt.
Amy was the one.
Somalian wedding the best.
Amy was the one who took me to the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., which was incredible. And she got us in the secret entrance because...
There?
Yes.
Black.
But you didn't get us in. Yeah, we were joking that they didn't check our tickets, that if you just show up to the African American Museum and you're black, they're just like, "This is for you, so just come in. Just come in."
Well,
we tell everyone they need tickets, but not if you're black.
She got you tickets because she gets up earlier.
She went down there. She waited in line, and then they didn't check it, and I felt bad, so we had to come up with a better reason.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Keep kayfabe on.
All right. Well, before we say too many things to get us canceled, or at least I do. My perpetual fear.
You said enough. Yeah. We're gonna dig into Adam's old tweets.
I didn't use Twitter before I was woke, thankfully. So.
Yeah, don't worry. I have a bunch of notes on your pre-woke days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find those Hotep memes real quick that you posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Your MySpace posts, your RuneScape DMs.
Yes.
Oh man, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into the content, the real content, before this turns into Pod Save America discussing their wedding. So
Did that happen? Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
go ahead.
It's gnarly. So what? We have the rockets causing an international incident from the
Yes, we do.
pretty innocuous tweet. I mean, I guess depending. I could see it both ways, but Moray, what's his name?
Daryl Morey.
Daryl
I think it's
Morey.
Morey, not Moray.
Daryl Morey. He tweeted what was it, like free, like let Hong Kong be free or something like that.
It was just a picture. It was basically a boomer meme of like, support them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
See,
So on and so forth.
I was driving yesterday, so I didn't see the actual tweet. So I was like, what
Yeah.
so mad? I only saw the inevitable apology. The Rockets, of course, are. I saw numbers. They said that they're like the second most popular team in terms of like I think NBA League Pass subscriptions. They're incredibly popular. Part of their brand, like much of their branding, is really tied to trying to market to China because of the Yao Ming connection. They became very popular and they've been cultivating that. Their city jerseys are like have Chinese script on them and etc. So it blew up because China basically said they're gonna like ban the Rockets from China, which is also kind of wild because Yao Ming, is a pretty active figure in the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association. So like, I don't think he said anything, but like, it seems implied that Yao Ming is like part of attempting to ban the Rockets from China. So it's gonna be pretty wild. But before I get too far,
They took him off a Chinese League Pass, basically. So basically, whatever the
Yeah.
Chinese app version of League Pass is, they're just like, you cannot get Rockets games.
Yeah.
They just stripped him out of there.
So yeah, before I get too far in the actual discussion of like what happens and the implications and blah, that kind of stuff, Nate has been working through his regular job with some activists from Hong Kong, correct? Or
I
you've just
wouldn't
been
say
studying them?
with
You've just
them,
been studying the
but-
movement as part of your job?
Yeah, I mean, we know people, and people definitely read the stuff that we put out, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, you're qualified to at least give us like a little bit of objective as you can be breakdown for people who don't know. Because I honestly am not been
Okay.
keeping up very much because it kind of seems like a serious situation where I'm kind of like, I'm just not gonna have an opinion on that because I don't need to.
Yeah.
Maybe stay in the center, baby. That's where you live.
Hey, sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it's about knowing when your opinion is not needed.
That's right. That's right.
So, Nate, if you could give us a little breakdown on the Hong Kong protests.
Okay, yeah. Where it falls to me to give my opinions. Okay, not opinions. I'll just lay it out. So I don't know if people know. But basically, Hong Kong was a UK sort of protectorate. UK left, but they put in place this deal that basically said that Hong Kong gets to be kind of a separate administrative body, have its own government, its own kind of governor, its own like legislative body until like 2047. So 50 years after the UK left. And so they have generally enjoyed more political freedoms. They can, for example, criticize their government and nothing will really happen to them, which is kind of a big plus, I would say. And they have a separate legal system. That's the thing. They have a separate legal system. They handle, the courts are Hong Kong courts, and they have their own kind of penal code, right? Which is pretty good. It's a pretty good deal because for certain things like, free speech kind of so they have different laws than China basically when it comes to free speech and protest, the right to assembly, all those things. The governor of Hong Kong is pretty much seen as kind of a pawn of the Chinese government, and so she introduced this bill, an extradition bill, that said for certain crimes you can be deported basically to China and tried under Chinese penal code. And many people, I would say rightfully so, saw this as a way to sneak in people that say, do stuff like protests or criticize the government, could be arrested. And if they were in Hong Kong, nothing could really happen. But if they were, say, shipped off to China, very bad news. So that was the nexus of the protests, and that's what's been going on. And massive protests, but they've retracted the bill. But Hong Kong the people protesting are still pushing for things like they want the governor to resign because the governor is widely seen as a kind of just a puppet of China. They want everyone who's been arrested during the protests to be given clemency. They want just a clean slate for everybody who's been protesting, so on and so forth. And China's been, the Hong Kong government, but through China, has basically done stuff like declared a state of emergency and done things like banned face masks. If you've seen pictures, you've seen them wearing the masks, right, to hide their face. And China and Hong Kong government has banned those, and that's really important because, as we all kind of know, China's kind of invention in the last 20 years has been a American-style capitalist economy with authoritarian security state and surveillance state technology. So if they can't wear the masks, they're going to look at their face, they're going to scan their face, they're going to know who they are. It's very bad. And basically that's where we're at, is that a state of emergency is still in effect. There are Chinese troops near the border of Hong Kong, always threatening to just basically do a Tiananmen Square situation again. And Hong Kong protesters are still there and still asking and wanting stuff like protections, that assurances that Hong Kong government won't basically throw them to the wolves of how they see it, the Chinese government, basically. And that's where we're at. And then Rockets GM Daryl Morey tweets, and that's the story.
So he tweets, and then China, like, what was their relationship beforehand? Like, China just cuts off.
Well,
someone running a washing machine.
I don't think so. It might just be my fish filter.
Oh yeah,
it's a fish filter. There it is. There it is.
Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah. No, you asked like what was Hong Kong before they were part of China?
Well, no. I was asking more so what was their relationship with the Rockets?
Just China is a huge exploding market for basketball. It's like their second favorite sport after like soccer.
The NBA has been like very actively pursuing relationships with China. Because obviously, I mean, it's like a market of 1.2 billion people. And they like basketball quite a bit, and so they have like I actually applied for like a developer job like at an office for the NBA in China, like so they're very staked out there. They're like sending like trips there, like they were just in Japan, playing I think the Japanese team, or I mean the Chinese team. They've taken trips to China, like that's so like kind of going further in the story. So now that so basically everybody demanded that Morey like apologize, and the Rockets like immediately were like made him appear as like complete persona non grata, which is kind of funny because they've already done that this year with like the Chris Paul trades and stuff like that. Like they've been making him look like a total fucking fool, which he is a total dingus. Like, I mean, he's responsible for making perhaps like the least fun basketball to watch on earth. He's just a total fucking dweeb.
Sir, but statistically, it's the most successful basketball you can possibly play. It's been optimized, fully optimized basketball. I mean, sir, please retract your statement.
He's just a total fucking dweeb, and yeah, and I mean, and like he's not woke. Like this is not coming from a place of wokeness, which I think is like also kind of a criticism I have heard of the Hong Kong protests is like this dude is like a fucking Romney voter. Like, he openly campaigned for Romney. Like, he's just a total fucking dweeb, a Republican asshole. And so, like, even Harden and Westbrook came out and said, like, China are our friends. We are friends with China. Like, this was fucked up. He said this shit. Which is, like...
Well, that's the thing, too, is that Maury himself has not apologized. He has not apologized. Did he apologize?
He has two tweets. That are like very sniveling. Like I am not like I'm the only one responsible for this. The Rockets are good. The Rockets love China. The Rockets don't have any politics. Like the owner of the Rockets came out and said like the Rockets are like a non-political organization.
That's wild because I'm gonna tell you something. Because the owner came out and said that too. The owner.
That's
came
what I said.
Out
the owner said that. The owner said that.
Yeah, the owner. It was like we're non-political, and this is the same guy that went on to Fox News and said that socialism scares the hell out of him, and he holds fundraisers for Trump and holds fundraisers for the Republican Senate. So that's chill, but.
That's not the same as the Rockets. That's not the Rockets. Yeah. The Rockets are whatever we want them to be. They're just a vessel for our wants and needs and loves. Yeah. It's just a.
And they tried.
It's just a.
And they trotted James Harden out there. They had James Harden didn't know what the fuck. Like he's not involved in this in any way. And they had just James Harden go out there, and he had to be like. James Harden had to be like, no, we love China. It's time for us to plant 100 trees. We have to eliminate the 4 pests. We have to eliminate rats, mosquitoes,
Harden
cockroaches.
actually executed a landlord.
Yeah. It's time for a Daryl Morey struggle session. Let's,
Yeah. Oh, the other wild thing that happened was like the owner of the Nets, what's his name? Let me look it up.
Forget, because it's no longer the Russian guy. It's a Chinese guy, but it was a Russian.
He owns the WNBA team too, if I remember right. It is that's the Harden one.
He went with he went with this bullshit identity politics thing where he's like, this is actually
Joe Tsai is his name.
Yeah.
And he wrote this big long Facebook thing talking about like basically just giving a fucking like history lesson of like Western imperialism in China, which is not wrong. Like it's a very valid criticism of why this is even happening in the first place. But this kind of gets to the complicated part of the protests of this is why I don't really have an opinion on the protests and this whole thing between the league and China is that like he's not wrong that like what happened in Hong Kong is like pretty fucked up like in terms of like how the British just seized it and then used it as like a regional, like a way to maintain regional hegemony, like in the area. Yeah. What they did to the Chinese in the Opium Wars is like incredibly fucked up. And what like the project that like Mao and the other the Chinese Communist Party like embarked on to like rid itself like. It's not my place to make criticism of that, to be honest. It is. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that like China imprisons as many people as the United States does. You know, like I mean, like if you want to
and is engaging with the Uyghurs in Western China in cultural and literal genocide.
I thought that was debated, but I don't.
No, it's not debated. It's not debated. I mean, it's
anyways.
not debated among people that are serious.
Yes. So like that's the thing. That's the thing that like what comes out of this is like Joe Tsai, his real intentions are not maintaining like the uninterrupted revolution that Mao began in China. It is that he's a fucking billionaire and he has like kind of a unique position of access to China, and he wishes that not to be disturbed. Is the long and short of it. Is like, I don't think Joe Tsai really has a better, like more of a place to make a statement that is meaningful than I do, almost. You know, I mean, because he's a billionaire and he can fuck off. Like, he doesn't care. Like, the reason why he doesn't want, like, why he is opposed to the Hong Kong protests is because he stands to gain a lot of money and power from it.
Yeah.
And that would probably be my criticism, as far as I'm willing to go on this show about the Chinese government, is that they allow billionaires, so that's not very communist.
I mean,
like,
that is something that like I don't give a fuck about. I don't care if people want to drag me or cancel. I don't care. But basically, like, I don't really understand why people, like serious leftists, are defending the Chinese government here, because like the Chinese government is not a model that we want to get to, like a socialist state that is real and follows the like values of like actual real socialism. And like there's under no rubric is the current, we're not talking China in 1949, we're talking China 2019 that hasn't been, it has a capitalist economy. It's fully capitalistic, just about. Like, I don't understand why people are defending it, where it's like, this is not the model you want to be defending, guys. Like, this is not what you would want anyway.
They do use things, they do use the structure that they have created to do some genuinely, like, righteous and egalitarian things. And I don't feel comfortable necessarily saying that they, like, making judgment calls on their human rights violations, because it's hard for me to know what's true. It's hard for me because we're very propagandized. We don't have a lot of access to them, both because they don't give us a lot of access and because the U.S. does not give us a lot of access, or they distort the access.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my feeling on it, is that, like, they do seem to do some very good things, like in terms of like developing like a standard. And I mean, I'm not the biggest Mao fan either. Like, I don't think we all needed iron forges in our backyards. Not a big fan of that part. Big fan of the landlord part, but not the. Yeah, but you know, I mean, so I think that's why it's difficult. Like, I'm not into making judgments. I don't think I think that there is an issue with that fact that, like, that to make money in China, you can never, ever make any sort of criticism of them, or else they cut you off. Like, that seems like that does not seem correct to me. Like, that seems damaging. Right. And in an effort to protect capital or hegemony or both, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, like, openly criticize the Chinese government because, like I said, it's just not really my place. There seems like there's things that we can learn.
I'm very happy to. I'm very happy to say they have a shit government. But I think more on point. I think that, you know, I think this has kind of hit a lot of people kind of hard, this story, because like I think that we all know that these large organizations are pretty much all shit, but we wanted to believe that in many ways the NBA was like kind of a woke league, or like was further along than other leagues.
Sure.
But what we're realizing now is like it is very good and correct that the NBA did things like threaten to take away the All-Star game from Charlotte because they had that awful bathroom bill.
We still
That's
have it. We
good,
still have it
and
here. Just so you know, they didn't really do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
They took away the All-Star game though. They didn't have the All-Star game there.
We
right?
had it last year in Charlotte.
Oh,
yeah.
well, they talked tough on it, which was, I guess, a good thing. But then it's kind of this news is just slapping everybody in the face of like the NBA will only take stands as long as it doesn't affect the bottom line. And we thought they were a little bit better than that, but of course they're not. Of course they're not.
I wonder, Nate, too, if much like a certain presidential candidate, if the NBA's domestic policy might be a little bit better than its atrocious foreign policy. Can you think of anybody? can you think of any presidential candidates who would fit that bill?
Amy Klobuchar, John Pickens, De Blasio. Okay. Otherwise, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Bernie Sanders aside, though, because I don't know much about the Hong Kong protests.
Mm-hmm.
I found it difficult to kind of keep track because like I kind of don't know which sides to engage on in terms of like reading about it. But one thing, Nate, I do have a question for you. What's been the Hong Kong protesters' relationship to America in terms of their relationship to American protesters and also just America as this like conglomerate. And the reason I asked that is because I remember a few years ago during the Ferguson protests, there was like a huge connection being made with Palestinian protesters as well. And during because there were times when like police were like throwing tear gas and setting curfews, and Palestinian protesters were using like Instagram and Twitter to communicate with the Black Lives Matter and Ferguson protesters on how to deal with like tear gas, like literally telling them like how to cover your eyes and how to treat your eyes when they've been tear gassed. And when it comes to like the Hong Kong protests, I've seen pictures of like them like holding like American flags and stuff. So like what's been like their connection with America?
Yeah. Well, first off, the Palestinian example is really good, and if you want, I'll show you like the first Intifada is like one of the classic like success, or not, they didn't get ultimately successful, but it was an amazing struggle. But like that's kind of the thing, is that the main criticism of the Hong Kong protesters is that, at least from leftists, is that they have been doing things like holding American flags, or wearing like "Make America Great Again" hats, or like having like UK flags. I mean, I don't really know, because I'm not there. I do know a couple things I know is that there is a big trend in like international protest movements that like people aren't stupid, and they know that if you want to get American help and support and to get Trump's attention, you have to flatter him.
Yeah.
Like they know that. So like it is a strategic thing that people are doing. Like, oh, if we take pictures wearing Trump's hat, then he's much more likely to like possibly like support us and help us. And I mean, that's a real concern, whether the U.S. power supports you or throws you to the wolves, as we've seen today with Syria, with the Kurds possibly being, absolutely wiped out. So that's been a strategy for not just Hong Kong, but many other places around the world, is like wearing kind of Trump paraphernalia, which gives it a weird sort of like, is this reactionary right wing? And I'm sure there are some elements that are, and like I'm sure there's some people that are like supremely anti-communist, and that's their like kind of right wing thing. And there are also people that are just savvy, and they know to get international attention, you should just kiss Trump's ass, because that's the only thing he responds to. And that's pretty smart. That's a pretty smart play.
Well,
and they
it hasn't been
figured him out.
because Trump is supporting like the Chinese government stacking troops on the border and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it hasn't worked. It's interesting strategy. I don't know. I mean, they're definitely there. I don't know what to tell you because Hong Kong is the people there are it's mostly young people. They probably are pretty anti-China. They're probably more capitalistic than we'd like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all true. I mean, we can go into it for forever. I just don't think that China is a particularly good. I'm not gonna build a fucking society around the central government structures of China. It's like, and by the way, the Uyghurs thing is absolutely happening, and it's fucking terrible.
I know too. Amongst ourselves, we were talking about Stephen A. Smith's reaction to
Oh, wild. Let's get the funny stuff now. That's wild. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because I want you guys because you guys said something in the planning about this that I kind of took exception to, but I'll say that after one of you initiates it.
Well, I didn't.
Should I just?
I didn't see the video,
go ahead.
so you'll have to. I'm reading the quote right now that he said.
So I kind of clipped it, but he said I don't feel comfortable doing an impression. I wish I could do a good impression because it's a fun thing to do.
Good on you.
I mean, if you're good at it, it's a really fun impression.
The Hegelbon tweet, like, Skip, I'm sensitive to the issue.
He said, Daryl Morey, good man, exceptional executive, a conscientious human being. But when you're thinking about speaking up on an issue, it's about a multitude of people that you have compromised. And this is the part that I love this part. When you take the kind of position that you can compromise Walt Disney, ESPN, or anyone else, you have an obligation to adopt and embrace the interests of those you take a paycheck from. You don't think about yourself when you act. That's for children. Basically, he's saying, if you're getting a check from Walt Disney, you have to fucking toe the line always.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it is insane. It is insane that people will probably next week go back to criticizing the Chinese government for telling you can't say whatever you want. When how is it any different than the gears of capitalism cranking the fucking crucible upon you as soon as you do anything that compromises the power that runs capital,
It's not. They both suck.
Yeah. No. I mean, I definitely. Yeah. I know that this is like a more nuanced take. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it is. Just the irony has been like the wildest part of it. It's just very not to use such a tired metaphor, but it is very 1984, in a way. It's no, I know we told you last week. China is bad. This week, no. This week, you can't say anything about them.
Well, I just
Stephen A. Smith comes on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Stephen A. Smith comes on and is very boisterous. He's just like, China, double good China. Now double good China.
I saw you put somebody put in our planning that Stephen A. Smith is on the shit list now. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Nate?
I'm on Google Drive. Watch this.
Okay.
Are you on Google Drive? Are you on Google Drive? Watch. I'm just deleting the word.
It's too late. I've already planned an entire segment on it. It's too late.
Listen, the word's gone. It's gone.
It's etched in my brain. All right, so real quick. So Stephen A., I just want to acknowledge before we head into our break for the moment. Stephen A. has always been on the shit list. He's also been on a certain C list that I'm not going to say on the show because I feel like it doesn't quite fit our audience or my partners. But real quick, I just got a couple things. All right, Stephen A. Smith. He said that black folks should vote Republican. and he blamed us. He blamed black people for the Democrats' shortcomings when it comes to helping out black folks in the community. He said that Steve Harvey meeting with Trump was a good thing, and that people who are against that are also against the community and are against the community moving forward. And the last thing, probably the most egregious thing that Stephen A. Smith did, was when he agreed with Charles Barkley and suggesting that the police is a positive, good influence on the black community, and that we need the police, otherwise we would be some sort of rogue wild animals running amok in the streets.
Those are not good things.
Those are not good things. Stephen A. Smith, he just continues on with the rampage. That needs to be clear that Southpaw stands on Stephen A. Smith.
There you go. Yeah.
There it is.
Any final thoughts on the Rockets?
Yeah, I have another 15-minute rant on this. I'm just kidding.
This is only. This is you can go to Nate's new podcast.
My new podcast, no laughs, no riffs.
Revisionism with Comrade Luft.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Time to cut the tall flowers with Nathan Luft.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna hit a little intermission, and we'll be right back with more stuff for you. Enjoy the tunes. We had a special tune commissioned by friend of the show, Old Zolf on Twitter. That's at Old Zolf. Follow for some good healthcare activism posts, and hopefully maybe he'll start posting tunes more. But enjoy a little taste of the interlude, which is spelled interlude as in like lewd behavior. So enjoy. We'll be right back for you. right, we are back. I hope you enjoyed the interlude. Once again, that was by friend of the show, Old Zolf.
Golf, baby.
He owns an
Love you, buddy.
all white set of instruments. It's gonna be, once he breaks out that live show, it's gonna be very aesthetic. I think he's working on the aesthetic. Still, but it's gonna involve an all white type thing. So, yeah. So I guess I found this kind of be a natural transition in a way from the Chinese stuff. We also lost a dear friend this week. A dear friend is passing on. Sports Illustrated. It's the first sports journal that featured like photography in the way that it did. Is kind of historically where it stands.
Yeah.
First real. I mean, Sporting Post is first, really the first large magazine or journalistic outlet. But SI really kind of like took sports journalism into a different place.
Photography, we all got those swimsuit models, my friend. We all got those swimsuit issues. Am I right? Am I right? Everyone?
Still not sure.
I
still have
Everyone.
literally no idea why that exists, but yeah.
Well, I definitely got the Prince Fielder body issue.
That's ESPN the magazine.
Oh shit.
That's like
Really?
ESPN like trying to do like a woke version of the swimsuit edition.
Speaking of interlude,
I'm trash. Cancel me, please.
Yeah.
you're fainted.
Anyways,
you're done.
Yeah, so SI is getting like gutted out by this company called Maven, who is kind of like an SB Nation mixed with the Athletic kind of. Basically, the business practices of SB Nation with kind of the structure of the Athletic. I don't know if they do subscription like the Athletic does.
And also a word that I've never heard before, Maven, a word I've never heard before moving to DC, and I hate every day that I've lived has been worse now that I know what that word is. I feel like no one outside of New York or DC ever uses the word Maven in a without bursting out laughing.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Yeah, so basically, as has been happening in all of journalism, I mean, you could argue since the dawn of papers in the U.S., essentially. I mean, the William Randolph Hearst definitely, didn't really, I wouldn't call what he did journalistic integrity, but they, and kind of following what's happening with things like the Washington Post, and even like Deadspin at this point. Basically, they get bought by these media conglomerates that try to just cut out having to pay anybody who would actually do any decent work and replace it with either really green journalists, like straight out of college, who just want exposure, or like in the world of like SB Nation, which is kind of the lower end of the spectrum, just literal yahoos. Any yahoo can. I mean, shout out Sox Twitter. Yeah. Friend of the show, Josh Nelson, did start at SB Nation, but got sick of not getting paid, so he went and started his own media company that covers the Sox. So if you're a White Sox fan, I'm sure you've heard of Sox Machine, but if not, check them out. They do good content in that vein.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically, SI is moving away from having talent, arguably talented. I mean, they did employ Rick O'Reilly for a while, but Rick Riley, yeah. They did employ him for far too long and probably pay him more than like Brett Stevens gets paid. But I mean, it's they're quality articles. They generally cover like things deeper than sports, and Maven intends to replace it with like regional team affiliations, like literally in the mold of SB Nation.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys, by the way, that I would always read the Rick Riley column because it was always on the back page, the very last page.
You saved it like for dessert, like to savor.
Well, did you guys ever have something like when you were a kid where like you would read something or see something and like you didn't like it, but you just assumed that this is what adults read?
I kind of did feel the same way about the Rick Riley column, honestly.
You're like, I don't like this. I think it's stupid and it's boring. But like when I'm in it, like this is what adults like. Like when I'm grow up, I will like the Rick Riley columns because that's adult.
Sounds like porn.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it's shit. It's very bad.
Yeah, he's awful. He's an awful writer. We probably at some point need to read his book on Trump's playing golf because it sounds insufferable.
And you can see in Nate's background, we love insufferable books.
That's true. As you can see the
right, baby.
Yeah, the Ben Shapiro signed copy, I believe.
Ooh.
Nate went and got his copy signed from Ben.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
My most prized possession.
But yeah, I mean, it is kind of like, just, it is, I don't even really know where to go with this other than it just makes me very sad and upset that people I know who, I know people in media, and it's depressing to know the level of work that they put in, the talent that they have, and people who make a shitload of money don't think that that's important and instead are going to replace it with fucking Ken Woe, who is just, if you don't know, he's a White Sox Twitter guy who writes for SB Nation, who just the ultimate fucking dumbass. Like, I mean, just replace it with, I mean, you all know, everyone reads their like SB Nation for their favorite team. It's fucking dog shit. They have no access to the team. It's pure speculation. It's frequently not edited, or in terms of it's not edited to have like for instance, I used to work at one of these content mills. It was really minor. Nobody ever read it. I probably did about 4 stories for them, and
I read it, man.
Yeah, it sucked. But basically, what it is,
was it?
It is called Armchair All-Americans. And
yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and basically how it works is they just like go on like Reddit, they go on like message boards or whatever. They will literally publish. They will literally publish anyone. Like all of these sites, SB Nation like maybe slightly less. This is also, by the way, the Barstool model. That this is how Barstool does it. They find a bunch of college kids. And Nathan, we lost. Oh, okay, I think he meant to do that. Anyways, they find a bunch of college kids or people with varying degrees of mental illness. Not to say that that's bad, but the people who write have a lot of the time are clearly disturbed. And they just find any Yahoo. They pay them, or they tell them they're going to pay you per page click, and the numbers. Oh, we lost Nate completely.
He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, now you're in Nathan's spot. Okay, we'll wait for him to come back. Am
I taking up 2 spots?
Sort of. Your bottom half is in one spot, and then your head is in Nathan's spot now.
That's pretty cool.
Okay,
that's how it should be.
Yeah, so basically how it works, so they say they're going to pay you by page click, which is like some absurd number. Like you get like I have friends who got legitimate page hits on Armchair, and they probably, the end of the day, collected about $50 from like, from their work, which was like solid recruiting stuff because they were in college and they knew the people. And that's exactly what Barstool does. They just try to find people who like might be friends with some athletes, as opposed to like paying for press passes.
Right.
And so, oh, he's back, but now you guys are switched. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Now you guys are switched.
That's
I tried looking up. Was it All American?
Armchair.
Was it
Yeah.
Armchair? I tried Googling it, and just the act of Googling it killed my computer. It just said,
Is
this is
that
too
bad?
shit. You can't.
Yeah, so they do that. They'll pay you on that. They frequently won't pay you, as what happened with Josh. Josh was and the other guys who started Sox Machine were pretty open with. They're running like a very popular White Sox website, generating good content and just making like absolutely no money off of it. So as soon as you get fed up with it, they just get someone new, because any idiot will fucking write this stuff. So basically how the process actually works is you report to like a guy who's like in control, at least in my case, was in charge of like the entire league that your sport was in. And so, or like your team that you were covering it was in. And
One editor for all of that.
they wouldn't edit, they didn't edit your piece in any meaningful sense. They would proofread it. You dump it in this like CMS, like that was a WordPress site, spell check it, and just fucking publish it. There was no sort of like there was no fact checking, there was no sort of like journalistic style enforced. Nothing. It was just dog shit fucking writing. Like just terrible dog shit. And that's what they think. That's what these people with a bunch of money think will replace a site like a publication like Sports Illustrated or the Washington Post. I'm sure that they would love to move the Washington Post to a blog format where they just post blogs of random idiots that have a cell phone video of an event.
There we go.
Yeah. So,
I think that Bezos uses Washington Post to get prestige. I'm not sure he would want to do that, but only because he's using Washington Post to like cover his own ass and be like, I'm doing nice things. I'm a good guy.
But yeah, so that's where sports journalism is at. Like, I mean, it's literally gonna go to that. The Athletic is, I don't subscribe to it anymore because various reasons, but I mean, you can't argue that at least the content is a little higher quality, especially like the long form stuff is pretty decent. Like, so
A little better. It's a lot better.
I mean, it's definitely
Quite a
better
lot
than
better.
fucking
Yeah.
SB Nation. Like, a lot better. Is it as good as like the long form and like a thing in a magazine like SI or ESPN the magazine, which is not a thing, like is being ended? It's only, well, I guess it's online. They're not printing it any longer.
Yeah.
But if you've ever used the ESPN site, it's fucking impossible to find any sort of content on there. But yeah, so so I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Maurice?
I mean, I don't know. It's Sports Illustrated. I mean, I know that they've been kind of doing this since like 2015. So,
Like cutting down, you're saying?
what'd you say?
Like cutting it down? Or
Yeah,
cutting
cutting it
out?
down, laying folks off, and so I guess it's like something kind of nothing new, but also like I don't want to say you should see it coming because that sounds really shitty to say,
Yeah.
you know. But I guess I kind of have like a lukewarm opinion on it because
Yeah.
I've been kind of lukewarm on Sports Illustrated for the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I will say?
The warning signs, yeah.
What I will say, speaking of the warning signs, then we can kind of move on because there's not as much material here, I guess, as we were hoping. My last point, I guess, I would make on it is that this is all part too, I think, of a greater trend, not just to make money, but like how people with capital want sports to be perceived in a very like Chomskyan manufactured consent type way, where like we were joking earlier, like the Rockets are not a political organization, and you see it like at ESPN. I mean, last year ESPN like laid off like what was it, like 70% of their staff, like the media staff. I mean, you see it like this. It's like not only is it cheaper, like they don't want writers making sports about anything more than like feel good stories, spawn con, and literally the facts, the quote unquote facts, the stats on the field or whatever.
I kind of see it as like a kind of a, because I kind of have an optimistic view where I'm like, yeah, we should have seen it coming, and like obviously the model that is gonna have to come out of this is something kind of like The Athletic, where you pay for, you know, instead of just one large thing, you're paying for like specific sites, you know. And like personally, why I'm optimistic is that I think that people want to do that. Like personally, I know that for me, and I'm betting for thousands of other people, it's like I have been considering signing up for The Athletic, subscribing to it. It's you know, it's tied up with like American desperation, is that the people don't have a lot of disposable income, and the hope is if you can get to a society where people are not living paycheck to paycheck and they're not desperate. I know for one that I would be very happy picking out like 10 things to subscribe to and to do that. I would, if I had like, if I didn't have to worry about money, I would subscribe to The Athletic right now, this moment. Like I would do it. And I think that most people are that way. So I don't think that it's a thing of like, this can never survive because people are apathetic and people are stupid and dumb and they only want clickbait and, you know, you have to believe in people's worst angels. I think it's much more of like people are, it's despite the good economy, whatever, we all know that it's rough. It's fucking rough for people in the new American economy. And if people have relief, I think that they're going to want things like The Athletic, or on the journalistic side, The Intercept. Like I want to support those things because I think most people know and understand that these things are being gutted, and that if you want, like, people aren't stupid. They know Bleacher Report is shit.
Yeah.
Like they know it's shit. They know that Sports Nation shit. Like they know that.
Fanside is the worst one.
Yeah, they know that these things are shit, and they know what's good. But it's like I have limited money, and I'm in a better financial situation than most people because I don't have student loans. I can't imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that's just why you can't depend on capital to give you things like that would make you think.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I think a couple years ago when Ken Rosenthal joined The Athletic, he wrote like a piece on why he joined.
Everyone writes the why I'm joining The Athletic piece when they go.
Well, I just like, I mean, I agree with like one of your last points, Nate. Like, I would definitely join. Currently, I don't have any subscriptions like anywhere, like TV, music, anything. I have no subscriptions right now because I just can't afford it. But if I could, no, man, I definitely, you know, I would definitely support certain ones who are being gutted like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. They think that, like, you know, people want this free clickbaity shit because they're dumb fucking morons and that's all they can handle. And it's like, no, it's because there were structures in place that gave you all of this great content at a reasonable like price that could fit into your budget, and now budgets are constricted. So like, all to say, I'm optimistic that if people are in a better financial position, I'm very optimistic that things like The Athletic and like 100 things like The Athletic could thrive. Like, I think that's extremely possible and would be the reality.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have 20 minutes. Let's maybe do a little rapid fire.
Yeah.
Why don't we do some tweets? We have some fun tweets.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
This is-
Yeah. I because we
Oh,
know
wow.
somebody who would also support the Athletic.
Oh yeah. Who are you saying? Are you talking about AB?
AB.
All right. So if you haven't been following the other Antonio, well, no, he's not Antonio Bryant. He's what's his name?
Antonio Bryant. He's not Antonio Brown.
Bryant. He's not Antonio Brown.
Right.
He's the other AB. He's been using his spotlight to shine light on things like, we got the tweets. If socialism means people ain't gonna die because they can't afford their insulin, then yeah, call me a socialist because what we got right now ain't working. Very good.
Good stuff. That's
Jesus
good.
ain't
Good
no
stuff.
capitalist. He turned water into wine, but he ain't opened no liquor store. He multiplied loaves and fish, but he ain't established no Walmart. He healed the sick, but he ain't build no Medicare or started an HMO. Very good stuff.
This is the good black content right here. That's
Very good stuff. Very inspiring stuff.
Yeah.
And then we AB decided to take a heel turn though, and here it is. Oh, not good. Not good. Not good. Gonna support Andrew Yang. He's fucking Yang Gang. He's Yang Gang. I'm going to support. I'm going to support Andrew Yang for president. He's the only one who wants to do more for the average American. And he's got some innovative ideas to help people. Yang Gang. He even used the Yang Gang hashtag. Quite a heel turn there from AB.
Oh man.
I was following the saga. I thought it was gonna be great. I thought we were gonna get a Bernie endorsement out of it. I thought it was the natural progression.
I thought that the Bernie endorsement would be. I thought he would have the same sort of Bernie endorsement that a lot of people have, which is sort of unmitigated and does not have the proper critiques. And I thought that was kind of the best that we would get out of him. I was not expecting a Yang Gang heel turn. However, upon viewing it, looking over the play, I realized that the Yang Gang turn is actually, it falls right in line to where we want AB to eventually become. All right, and the reason I'm definitely not saying this to protect my own ass. I'm not saying this because I myself was a member of the Yang Gang a year and a half ago. Not saying that at all.
Oh no.
I do think though, like it's very appealing to people who are just sort of becoming anti-capitalist and getting into this idea that, hey, maybe someone shouldn't have to die because they can't afford to live. And Andrew Yang is literally saying, like, yo, I'm gonna give you this money so that you don't die. And I don't think he's being quite that radical with it, with his words, but just like on the onset of it, he just saying that like, hey, people shouldn't have to die, I think is sort of a start to a radical notion where we're trying to get AB to go. So that's my defense.
Yeah.
All right. He's not canceled.
You know, I'm imagining you Maurice, like an NFL game, and you're like a little ref, and you have a little box, and you click like so the whole stadium can hear you, and you're like, he did support Yang Gang, and there's the echo. He did support Yang Gang. He supported Yang Gang, but I actually supported Yang Gang a year and a half ago, so there is no penalty on the play.
But also, I didn't say that. I didn't say I did that. I just want to make that clear. I never said that.
Yeah.
Yang Gang's harmless. I mean,
before we put a pin
harmless.
in it, well, it's kind of guarded white nationalism, but
of all the things, of all the wayward ways you can go, Yang Gang is.
Well, as we all know, UBI was literally an idea of Milton Friedman. So let's slow the roll on UBI like slightly. I mean, there are good UBIs and bad UBIs, and we'll let you be the judge.
The thing is about.
What are you saying?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying you can't strip social programs like Yang will do.
Say that again?
Like Yang thinks UBI is like a replacement for social programs.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I do want to say that I wasn't really gang. I mean, I was just for the UBI for like 2 weeks. All right, there was like a 2 week period.
Yeah, we
in
read that book.
2018.
We read that book, and we were really into automation and UBI.
Exactly. I've been quoting that book literally for like the last 3 or 4 years. And I just started thinking, like, I mean, if I had an extra $1,000 a month, like my life would be radically different. Right?
Yes.
But at the same time, it's just like, well, because the UBI that Andrew Yang is proposing also doesn't necessarily help people who are already on welfare, and because
But
it will
most
literally
people
just
don't
cause
know
inflation.
that though.
Like all his UBI will do is just cause
Yeah.
inflation. So
exactly.
I would bet, but I would bet the amount of people that know, if you polled everybody, if they're like, did you know that Andrew Yang's thing gives you $1,000 a month and also cuts all your benefits? People don't know that shit. They just know $1,000 a month. That's what they know about him.
And you know,
that's
and
why
you know what?
that's why it's cool.
yeah.
Well, that's what they're using to appeal to the anti-welfare people. Too.
Yes.
Is that, hey, we'll give people $1,000 a month, but they won't be welfare queens anymore. You know.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a better tweet. There's a better tweet from the absolute boy, Jeremy Corbyn himself, coming out. He was in where was he? Is in Newcastle. Football is a part of our lives, our community, and the place where people go to socialize and enjoy each other's company. Let's take the beautiful game away from the billionaires and hand it to the fans instead.
Woo!
Very good stuff. Very, very good stuff.
It's good all the way. Yes.
I just got done reading.
Gang 2020.
I just got done reading Field of Schemes. Can't remember who it's by. I don't have it. It's in my bedroom. By Neil something. Very great writer. Really, just absolute takedown of public subsidies for stadiums, but also
DeGrasse Tyson.
Also, really,
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, it's by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I caught that, Nate. I knew you were onto it.
And at the end of the book, he mentions too that so much of this is tied up in billionaires owning these like social institutions, using the threat of taking them from us to encourage public subsidy and corporate welfare, and yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a million times. People should fucking get to own their fucking sports teams. Like, this whole idea that they're like a private franchise is just fucking absurd. Like, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So good on Corbyn.
Yeah.
That's definitely some open fucking socialism right there. Some good stuff.
Is Newcastle in London? Is that a place in London?
No, it's in a town it's in Newcastle.
I mean, all those teams are so confusing because some of them is like Tottenham is London.
Yeah, because like 10 of them are in London. Yeah, or it's a 6.
Yeah.
Plus, like, there's other ones, but I mean, that's some pretty cool stuff to openly advocate for. So.
Well, real quick, because there was some news that came out that was sort of like the exact opposite of this, but still talking about billionaires. Like David Sampson, who's the former president of the Miami Marlins, accused beloved White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf.
It was very anti-Semitic what he said. Very anti-Semitic to talk about this.
Wait, what?
You know, people say it's anti-Semitic to criticize Jerry for being cheap, right?
No, I've never heard that before.
Oh,
actually.
yeah. Anyways.
That's
Jerry
really
Reinsdorf, owner of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago White Sox. He is in the tribe, but that means he is also a bad man.
He's in the tribe, yes, folks. Jerry Reinsdorf is a black Israelite.
Anyways, so what were you saying, Clifton? You were talking about David Sampson.
Yeah, David Sampson, he's a billionaire, former Miami Marlins owner who sold the team he didn't sell the team. Sorry, he got fired by Derek Jeter, who bought the team. And
he was the
Derek
GM.
Jeter
He was
trashed.
the GM, wasn't he? He wasn't the owner. He was the GM, wasn't he?
No, he was the president.
Oh, okay, team president. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the
For a long,
president
long time,
of.
I think.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, like at least the '90s or something. But so he was the team president of the Miami Marlins. He said that the White Sox and Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf told him back in the year 2000 that he said that Jerry told him you should want to finish in second place. You should want your team to finish in second place. Strive for second place because second place keeps your fans coming back for more, keeps them wanting more. And it's just, I mean, it is what it is, whether this is true or not. On one hand, it's like, well, that was 2000, just so happened to be the year that the first time the White Sox had won the division in a while, and the previous 4 or 5 years we had come in second place. Very coincidental. Also, it's like, who gives a fuck? Because you're both billionaires and you're both pieces of shit. You both committed uh, crimes of morality that are unprecedented. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And
It is
also
crappy all around.
it seemed incredibly true. So yeah.
Right.
So
Turns out the Cubs are the only morally correct franchise to follow in Chicago. Next
Okay, so
question. Follow.
moving
No,
on.
next call. Next call. Next call.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
I need you guys to open the good call for yourselves. You got that?
Where'd you send it?
In your email.
Ooh.
I think this one's more directed at me, so it's not super important for you to hear it.
Okay.
You guys ready? It is.
Yes.
It's not. I'm not gonna play it because we're kind of running short on time. But we did get a spam call from I think it was a free trip one, if I remember right. So.
Is the one you're gonna play RE104 or RE664?
I don't remember. If you open it
All
and
right, I'll
there's some
listen to both.
coughing, it's the good one. Okay, I'm gonna play it now.
Okay.
You know that guy, Jeff Skinner? He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Did you get that, Jeff Skinner? You can unmute.
We got it, baby. We got it.
Jeff
Skinner. See, I never watched the Canes with Jeff Skinner, so I don't give a shit about Jeff Skinner. He's very handsome guy, though. I will admit that. He's got boyish good looks. He's a very good player. The Canes are undefeated. I believe the Buffalo Sabres are defeated. So they will remain defeated, just like all Buffalo sports teams. I believe the Bills also lost again. So, and also that guy, did you see the video of the guy at the Bills tailgate where he jumped off the stairs and like...
Oh, Jesus Christ,
didn't
yeah.
like,
Bills Mafia.
I did not see that.
oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's unreal. The guy has a table set up like off of like I don't know, what do you call that? Like you know, like in a park when they have like the big balcony part and it like goes down to the regular part of the park.
Yeah.
It's like usually like marble or stone or whatever. A guy like jumps off that trying to go through a table, totally misses it, goes straight into the ground, and like just doesn't move. Like doesn't move like never moves.
Is he dead?
I don't know, and we don't know where he is. And nobody seems very concerned like immediately. Like everybody just kind of stands there.
It's kind of a Bills Mafia is endearing. Bills, that's what they call it, the Bills Mafia.
Yes.
Like their whole thing is to do like, and I kind of like this. So like the pregame is more important than the game, and to just do the wildest stunts you can do and put it on Twitter is like their highest goal. Which like I'm a Bills fan. I like the Bills now.
Bills Mafia also raised some money, so shout out Bills Mafia. They're very good.
They're cool. The Mafia is cool.
All right, well we got 5 minutes left. Why don't we do a quick rapid fire through the playoffs, the MLB playoffs? We're not making predictions. We're not making predictions here. We're making. We're making.
What about the
Do you have a
text?
text?
What?
Do we have a text message?
Do we have a text? Oh, did you want to do the text message?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah. What
We
is it?
can't ignore the fans. We can't ignore the fans.
I don't have it open is the problem.
That's cool. I got it right here, baby. I got it
Okay,
right here.
he's got it.
This is
What does it
from
say?
from
What's
an
it
anonymous
say?
from an anonymous texter. I wonder who it could be. It says, "Hey guys, what is the WWE thinking? Putting on a pay-per-view so bad as the industry is finally heating up." All right, that's actually from Southpaw's fan favorite Ricky, who's been on the show once, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So real quick, what are they thinking? I honestly don't know to run through it. I know we don't have much time. The WWE has this red hot character, Bray Wyatt, who's got this like alternate ego called the Fiend. Fans have been latching on. Everybody's been latching on. He's been pretty dope. And they finally put him in a world title match last night at their pay per view, and we're all expecting for the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, to go over. However, the match it just stops in the middle of a Hell in a Cell match, which is like basically like a no holds barred, no disqualification, anything goes. Beat the shit out of your opponent, use all the weapons you want. It's that kind of match.
It's
right?
cool. It's cool.
Right.
It's a cool match.
It's cool
good.
shit. It's
They
cool
overuse
shit.
it. They
But
totally overuse it because it was good like 5 times. Now they use it all the time.
well, that's true. However, last night though was sort of like a renaissance.
Yeah.
But so this match it ended in a no contest because the title the champion Seth Rollins was beating the Fiend so bad that the Fiend's supposed to be this big bad scary monster. He beat him so bad that the referee had to stop the match. So the fans revolted. They're chanting, "We want a refund." They're chanting, "Restart the match." They're chanting bullshit. It's been just complete revulsion all across the internet. So and
Was
this
that
all
planned?
happens in the midst.
No.
Was it
Yeah,
planned?
it was
Well, I
planned.
mean the event. Yeah, that was planned, but yeah.
To have
not the
the
fan
one guy
reaction.
beat the other guy's ass like bad.
Yeah. The finish was planned, but the thing is that this all happens in the midst of AEW, All Elite Wrestling, coming to the mainstream, and in the midst of sort of like this new wrestling war that is catapulting itself to the main stage. And so the question is like, well, why are WWE doing this when this is the time when they need to buckle down, get back to what kind of pleases the fans or what they need to, and they're not doing that. And it's because one of the reasons is because, well, they've got an owner who is 60, 70 years old and doesn't quite understand what's going on. And it's just there's just conversation of do they care about the fans or not. But I know we don't have much time, so we can move on from it. But it is definitely something to watch moving forward is the wrestling war that's taking place.
All I have to say is just like Brian said, I have no idea why the fuck you'd watch WWE at this point in your life. Anyone. Like when there's like 6 other options
We
at
have
this
hope.
point. But yeah.
They just have like such talent and like, on the roster, right? And like you have hope that at one point they'll actually use them the right way.
Hey man,
but then they keep
you know,
disappointing.
just keep having that hope for another 20 years. But all right,
Hey,
let's
man.
do a quick
Hey.
breakdown of the postseason.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna name them out. You give me a quick one. We boo, we jeer, whatever. Okay.
That's right.
We're even gonna do the wild card games because this is about what we wish had happened, not what did happen. All right.
That's
We're gonna
right.
start with Tampa Bay A's.
I want the A's to win.
That's good.
A's obviously. A's are awesome. I have a Crush Davis jersey. They got good jerseys. Fuck the Rays. They're anti-labor.
Yeah.
They do have Avi though. Okay, so now we're gonna and then Brewers Nats.
Easy, Nats. Fuck the Brewers.
Damn.
Fuck Josh Hader. Christian Yelich. Trash. Fuck them. They're garbage.
I mean, I kind of don't like the Nats though. The Nats
Yeah,
had a
but
fucking
the-
video tribute
oh,
for Charles
so you-
Krauthammer.
They did what?
They had a video tribute for Charles Krauthammer when he died, which
Well,
is like
but
way
they- but
worse.
But the Brewers like trot out a literal white supremacist all the time.
Well,
At least,
so does
at
every
least, at least
team. Every team has a white
At least that's
supremacist
true.
on it.
That's true. That's true. But but you know what though? But Brewers fans
Yelich.
act. What'd you say?
Yelich. No,
The
not
Yelich?
Not Yelich.
Well, Josh Hader,
Josh
the
Hader.
tweet guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But also,
I gotcha.
remember because we talked about, or we were talking about in the planning about how the Braves fans were actively engaged in white supremacy. Remember what happened the day after the Josh Hader tweets came out? Brewers fans actively cheered Josh Hader. That's
All right, we're
white
not talking about the
supremacy.
Braves yet. The Braves aren't in the question yet.
All right, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm talking about the Brewers though.
All right,
the Brewers
all right.
fans actively cheered
So
Josh
wiping
Hader.
out the wild card game. Now we're going back to reality. So we're gonna start
Yes.
Yeah.
Twins Yankees. I mean, I hate the Twins, but I also hate the Yankees.
That's clearly Twins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Twins.
definitely.
Yeah,
But
right.
fuck the Yankees.
What's
I'm a
wrong
Sox
with you,
fan.
Twins?
All right.
Sox fans. I'm sorry. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Tampa, Houston.
See, I say I like Houston, and it's less so for the organization and more so for the city itself. They just went through a major catastrophe over the last few years.
Yeah.
I think that they're still rebounding, and they already did have like sort of a feel-good story when they won the World Series. However, I think that just to keep that going would be pretty dope. I can't root against Houston at this point.
Yeah, Houston.
They're kind of Warriors-ish, but I still like most of the players on the team.
They are.
Yeah. So I'd say Houston.
Yeah.
St. Louis Braves. I mean, St. Louis actually has a pretty fun team. I like their team. And Busch Stadium is
they have
very
Marcelo
nice.
Ozuna too.
Yeah, they have Ozuna.
Bolas?
They have Paul Goldschmidt, who I
Martinez?
like. They have Dexter Fowler, who's always
like
cool. I mean, the
gonna
Braves have
say
a
it.
cool team.
I want to
Braves
say
have a
it.
good team.
But
Cardinals. They just do it the right way, you know. There's
okay.
something. There's something about them. Cardinals.
Okay, Nats, Dodgers. I like
Can
the
we
Dodgers.
just,
The
like-
Dodgers are cool.
Get a meteor just.
You
The
like
Dodgers-
the Dodgers? Are
The
you
Dodgers
out
are
of your
cool. They
mind?
haven't won anything, too.
Rolling down.
The Dodgers are basically like the Dodgers are a great value Yankees.
Also, their stadium is way nicer and cooler. And it's in LA, which is way cooler than New York.
Sorry, I'm not classist. I haven't been to LA to see the
LA
stadium.
is
I
actually a
apologize.
very blue collar city, and that's what makes it very cool.
I'm taking
What's the
Nats.
effect?
Okay.
I can't afford it.
I mean, other than Capitals, DC sports. I'm not a fan of the Nats, but the DC sports fandom is like it's really fucking hard to be a DC.
At
sports
least for the
fan,
Nats.
other than-
The Nats are definitely the
actually-
team of the worst of Nova.
I'm actually taking.
Nats, Wizards, Redskins. That's hard to be a fan of those three.
Yeah.
Hard.
I'm actually taking the Dodgers too.
Okay,
I'm not
okay.
gonna lie.
Well, okay, so we're gonna keep going because we didn't really come to a consensus. We'll just do it again next
Yes,
week.
keep
We'll
going.
let's do it next week. We'll reevaluate
Continue.
next week. We'll continue.
Next time on Dread Ball
Stick a
Team.
pin in it. Sticking a pin in it. So what?
we
we're
gotta
waiting
do our
for-
announcement.
So
We have an announcement.
we haven't even announced yet. Yes. The exciting announcement. We are moving to Means TV as of next week, I believe. So, expect some promotional materials to come out soon. We are going on Means TV. If you haven't followed them, check them out. Make a donation. They're a very cool leftist collective of media creators of videos, documentaries, interviews, live
They're great.
streamers. It's very, as someone who was always part of like DIY punk, is very DIY punk in the fact that we as leftists should be creating our own media free of advertising and capital's influence, and be the pure expression of people.
Remember that thing I was saying about The Athletic being great and everyone should subscribe to it? And, well, not that, but like the fact that if you have money, people are altruistic and they want to give money to good media apparatuses. Well, that was all a big setup to say you should subscribe to us also.
On Means. So we will be going on Means.
On Means.
We'll be moving
Yeah.
to Means. Means' Twitch channel as of next week is currently where we're at. There's a couple things that we have to do like logistically still. But the plan is to be there next week. So you will be able to tune in on Means TV and check us out there and enjoy it and enjoy the other people on Means TV, which are great. I have had the host of Left Trigger on the show on a show I was doing when we were reformatting Southpaws that never got released, and so but that was fun. We've of course had Brian on the podcast, who is of the POD cast. You might have heard of it, and maybe Street Fight.
And maybe.
And maybe Street Fight. They're also on there, and I know they have some other people that they're announcing, so it's going to be very cool. I know I've talked to Brett and Brian about what they're doing. It's going to be insane, the things that they have planned. It's fucking nuts. So we're very excited to be a part of it, and I hope you're excited to be a part of it too. So yeah, and I hope you're enjoying the new format. Follow us.
We're having fun.
Yeah,
we're having fun. Right?
Finally, we only had one technological issue this week, so so that was great. So follow us on Twitter, Southpaws_pod. We are Nathan_Luft. You see the Twitter things. Nathan_Luft. Good Dr. 14. You guys are backwards at this point. Maurice is now Nathan, and Nathan is Maurice. I'm still
Maurice.
Adam. I am at Crappy Oats. You can follow me there. You make sure to subscribe. We're still going to be putting out the podcasts on SoundCloud or wherever you listen to podcasts, the audio versions. But come and join and be part of the fun on the live stream. It's going to be dope. Very, very excited. So we will see you guys next week. Not same time, but not same place. So, enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.